Well, hello YouTube. I'd like to talk to you today about the Premier One electric fence for sheep and goats that I purchased here for our operation. This video and what I'm doing here is pretty well inspired by the Stony Ridge farmer and in a video that I watched of him a few months ago of how he talked about how he has this set up and what he tried to do with it. And I just thought I'd build on that and give him a shout out and a thanks for the motivation to do what I'm doing here today with our operation. We raised some goats for rodeo use, I guess I should say. What we do here is we have about 5 paddocks out through here, the top edge of this field here. It's primarily orchard grass, a little bit of alfalfa and some clover. But what we did is we took two, I believe they're 160-foot rolls of the fencing and put them together. Instead of having a joint that you typically butt two ends together, I did take one of the posts off and kind of merged both fences together into one post. And it starts up there at the corner of the building and comes down along the driveway here. Did have to use some corner supports here because a post just didn't fall right in the corner where all the measurements here worked out to be. But as you can see, I did spray some grass and weed killer out through here to try to eliminate any weed problems with the grass touching the fence. And here's our other corner post here. Now what this does is it goes up right to the center of the building, and we'll take a walk up there in a minute or so, but as you can see, this continues all the way out to the tree line. And there is 5 paddocks here. This here is about a ½ an acre in size up here. We usually raise about 10 to 16 goats throughout the summer that we graze on this property, and then one other property that we have. That's where they're at now. Let's take a walk up here. I'll show you the building. And you can see this is a nice blend of alfalfa. There's a couple weeds in here. I usually don't spray this area for weeds because the goats tend to like it, but the hayfield down through further, that's about 4 acres in size. That I do spray for weeds. But they seem to enjoy this up here. It's orchard grass, and there you can see some weed pressure. But clovers, there's red and white clover and some alfalfa in here. Now again, what you can see here is I have a building. It's 8 by 16, and I basically have both ends open but have gates on each side. And basically the idea is once the goats eat all this off, we disconnect it out here, gather up this whole section here all the way down through where we just came out to this corner. And then what we do is we wrap it around and we come up along the next paddock, and then we come out across the top and connect to this side of the building. We'll shut the gate over here and then open that side up. And then they have this here area to graze down. Each paddock typically lasts about a week, 5 to 7 days, depending on what rain we got. We just got a rainstorm here today, so we've been getting a lot of rain here lately. I went with the solar charger. I don't really know it's the IntelliShock 60. More than enough power to power 2 sections of fencing here. And here we have a wire gate that allows us access into there, or we can come into the shed through one of these 2 gates here. And basically what we do here is once these two sections are grazed off, this one, and then once we move them to this section, and again, I was kind of inspired by the Stony Ridge farmer and his wife. When they were setting theirs up, they talked about making a movable structure, and basically that's what we did here. You can see there on the back of the tractor I have like a little lift device with a ball on it, but that hooks onto that chain, and what we do is we pen all the goats inside the building when it's time to move them. Pen the goats in here, close that door, and what my son and daughter do, their job is to stand in here, and this is pretty much what I see from the tractor seat. I can see them back there, and they just keep working the goats towards me as I'm pulling the building. As I pull the building, it's made on some 2x6 pressure treated lumber, and basically we'll just take that, and that's not the spot, but out there beside the wagon, all the way out there is where the building will go, because this section here would be grazed off along with that one, and then we'd have to move the building all the way out there, and then they would graze this section right here, and the one beside it, similar to the way they do this one. Then I have to move the building all the way out to the corner, and they have one more section out there. So I typically have about 4 to 5 weeks of grazing here at this spot, and I have about another half of an acre total at another spot where I usually keep them there a week or two. So it's a good month until they're brought right back to this spot here. And this is how we do our water setup. 55-gallon drum. We just have a little quick connect coupler there with a shutoff valve, and that's plumbed into the building. Went into a bucket with a automatic shutoff on their water bucket. And that was a homemade idea I had. Can't really tell you what inspired me to do it other than necessity, since we don't have water or electric this far up the hill. But basically the A-frame there on the back of the tractor fits right inside there, and when you lift it up, it raises the whole works up. And typically that'll last about a week to a week and a half. Here you can see the connection I made from the fence to the building. And we'll give you a shot here a little bit later with the goats in it. I'm just about ready to move them down here, so we'll catch up with you in part 2.